Hi, everybody. It's your boy, Mark Gray. I'm looking to duck the fishes. You know, the squids. Something about 0-4 has me, well, scared.
Well, you want to duck the fishes or squids. Speaking of squids, take a look who I brought with me as a reminder of what we did this past week. As Coach Steve Spurrier would say when he was the coach of the Washington football team.
Not very good, but there were some worse than us. I guess that's one positive way to look at it. We weren't the worst team.
Not very good. Could probably do better. Let's try to do better this week.
Ain't no 50-50 in my hindsight, but this is the sure shot, and that's for sure. And it's on now. Welcome to Sure Shot, boys and girls. Hopefully we'll be a holiday stimulus package that'll carry you into the new year. I'm Mark Gray, socially distant from my partner. Yeah. What's up, bro?
Let me tell you something. This is our COVID edition. I want to let you guys know we will be back in the studio soon. But for today, me and the squid are chilling at the crib.
Yeah, and I'm running off from that squid. Tough week, man. Went the wrong direction in a bracket of places, 0-4.
That's terrible.
Even with the sure shot, and it was just crazy to look at the landscape of what happened last weekend. I mean, who would have thought not only did many of the dogs not cover, they got blown out. How much you contribute that to COVID? How much you contribute that to those dogs just, coming to grips with the fact that their bark is definitely not as good as their bite?
Well, I'm going to tell you, one of your picks, man, was a golden pick. You picked the Packers and you gave up 7, and that's what should have happened. But I'm going to tell you, Baker Mayfield was in the Christmas spirit, and he's going to give away 4 picks. That's going to take that game in a different direction. But some of the teams that you and I talked about off camera that are now establishing themselves as the teams to beat, speaking of your Cincinnati Bengals. Woo! It was a depleted Ravens team, but what they did was something special.
Well, let's just go ahead and start penciling this great NFL quarterback matchup. You remember in the dark ages of the early 2000s, it was all about Brady versus Manning.
Yep.
Now let's talk about Joe Burrow and Patrick Mahomes. Mm-hmm. Look, the best quarterback in the AFC North, with all due respect to the homies in Baltimore, is Joe Burrow. He's athletic enough to make stuff happen outside the pocket. He's also got tremendous receivers. And when you look at what T. Higgins and Jamar Chase did to Baltimore, and forget what's going on in the secondary over there, they beat them like the bums on the bench that they are. And I can't wait to this weekend's matchup.
And I'll tell you, when Cincinnati beat Pittsburgh for the second time, they swept them this year. They walked by the Steelers locker room, and it's been reported that they said, this is our division now. And people just weren't taking them serious. But now, nobody questions it. Baltimore shut down. Pittsburgh shut down. The Bengals got it. How long could they hold it? We got to find out. But I'm going to say this to you, Mark. We got 5 teams that are really Super Bowl contenders. Nobody else. 4 of them are in the NFC. Dallas, Green Bay, the Rams, and Tampa. 1 in the AFC. In my opinion, just Kansas City. Out of these 5 teams, one of them's going to take it home. You got another one?
I would not sell Buffalo short at all. And then there's going to be somebody that comes off the pace that's going to put a scare in it. Maybe Tennessee if they get healthy. But we can talk about that on the other side as we rock on. Also, as we head towards the finish line of college football season, your mighty Pitt Panthers have a Peach Bowl date. How about that?
How about that? How about them Panthers? I'm going to take that one from Jimmy and steal it from my Pitt Panthers. I think we're going to take Michigan. I'd love for Corey to talk about it on the other side as we get a little preview of these bowl games coming up.
Kenny Pickett sitting out. Worcester.
He's getting ready for the Steelers, man. We're going to draft him.
Okay. Is that what it is? Steelers will do what they should have done with Dan Marino. Anyway, on the other side, it is our Sultan of the Sports Book. It is Corey Parson who will join us. We will break down the week that was, the week coming up, and how COVID is going to affect your lines. It's the Sure Shot from Smash Entertainment. Remember, knowledge herein for entertainment purposes only. Back at you in a sec. Our Sultan of the Sportsbook joins us right now, Corey Parson from NBC Sports Edge, as we roll towards the final weeks of the NFL season. But first, coming up this weekend, we got some college football plays, and the two big games on New Year's Day are the Cotton Bowl. That would be Michigan trying to upset the apple cart by knocking off Georgia, and what may be a historic loss if Alabama were to lose to Cincinnati. CP, happy holidays, my brother. How are you?
Happy holidays, doing well, coming off a pretty decent week in the NFL, but this is the week that we get into a lot of these big-time college football bowl games. So far on the season, had a good start to bowl season with the money line victory with the South Carolina State Bulldogs. Now we get into some more. So right now, I only have one loss in bowl season, but this is the week right here where rubber meets the road. And obviously on Friday, we got the college football playoff. So it's going to be a lot of money coming in on that one.
How big a week is this week relative to, say, opening round of the NCAA tournament? How much volume is normally bet during college football bowl championship series week or whatever the hell they call it, and what we normally see at the tip-off of the NCAA tournament?
Well, both events draw a lot of casual bettors in. That's first and foremost. So it's obviously when you have a lot of casual bettors, it usually means good things for sportsbook and sportsbook operators. Now, college football generally is the second heaviest bet sport, only behind the NFL. So you're going to see a lot of college football betting this week. But one thing that will top it is that first weekend of March Madness. So that first weekend of March Madness will be a bigger weekend betting wise. And a lot of the volume comes live in Las Vegas, where you'll get a couple of bros to fly out to Las Vegas, spend that first weekend out there. And Mark, they're betting on everything, including the first 10 points scored. So you have those real cardiac style bets going on. So definitely good for sports books. But I try to wager more responsibly. Exactly. I took the L on the L I took was, if I can remember correctly, I believe it was the Kent State and Wyoming game. Yes, I took the 3 points with Kent State, and Wyoming ended up blowing them out. So that was the only L so far of the college football season.
To even broach that game, you've got to be an expert.
Exactly.
Either one. But let's get to the big ones. Georgia, Michigan, and Cincinnati, Alabama. Who you got and why?
I guess let's start with the Alabama and Cincinnati. I mean, listen, this time of year is obviously very difficult to go against, Nick Saban. You've seen what he's been able to do. Now, don't get me wrong. This Cincinnati team is the best group of five team that we've ever seen. When the season started, this team, this Bearcat team had as good a chance as any group of five team we've ever seen. They did the work. They beat Notre Dame. Some things fell their way. Now they're here. And now that they're here, they're going to see what it's like because Alabama is getting ready to what I think is going to be a pretty epic beatdown. When I say pretty epic beatdown, I mean, I think it's a 3-touchdown game. With that being said, this is how I would play this. Right now, this number 2 days before the game is sitting at Alabama minus 13.5. If that number is at 13.5 come kickoff, bet Cincinnati. I expect this number to close somewhere around 15, 16, because I think you'll see all of that money come in on Alabama and push that number up. and I think Alabama will do that. Will win the game. If this number stays where it's at right now, that's a red flag, and I went back to Bearcats. But I think Alabama rolls.
Well, if you ask me, I just like Alabama. A, they're from the better conference. B, they just got more talent across the board. And C, if you start listening to the press clippings and seeing some of the statements being made by players from Bama, Nick Saban seems to have the Jedi mind trick going on with this team. They coming down there feeling like they're disrespected. And the last thing you need is a team like Bama feeling disrespected. So not only do I think that they're going to cover no matter what the spread is, you could give me 3 touchdowns in this game, and maybe my Southern football bias is playing heavily into this one. But like you said, Corey, Cincinnati, great story. They get their comeuppance this weekend. I like Alabama. I like Alabama big, even at the 13.5, even at 2 touchdowns to cover. Many teams have tried. If Georgia can't stay with them in the SEC championship, I don't think the Bearcats have a chance.
I would also.
Remember what
look
Lou
at.
Holtz said when they were going to play Colorado back in the 80s, and Colorado was just trying to break into that top level. He said, "What's the difference between Colorado and Cheerios? Cheerios belong in a bowl." I don't think Cincinnati belongs anywhere on the field with Alabama. I kind of lean with Mark on that one.
But here's the thing: if you don't put Cincinnati in this game and you put Notre Dame in there, and Notre Dame would get stomped.
No, we're not saying that they don't worthy. We're just saying that, okay, to your point, I think you so eloquently put it earlier. It was like, okay, welcome to the big show, fellas. This how we dance. I'm not quite sure that anybody named Hines is going to be wearing black and orange for the Bearcat. You know, Martin Reese or Gregory, ain't no tap dancing going on unless it's in retreat somewhere in the neighborhood of the fourth quarter where you're down 4 touchdowns and the clock can't move south fast enough.
One thing I will definitely do is I would lay the number with Alabama in the first half all the way up to 10.5. I think Alabama gets on top of them early. That right there would probably be the best bet of this game, is to lay the number with Alabama in the first half.
Real quick, Corey, in the last few minutes, let's hit that next one. Michigan, Georgia, who you got?
This one right here is a little bit more interesting. I think I really want to hit this game live. I want to let this game get started, hop in there and see what it looks like live, particularly going towards that halftime, see who gets the ball to start the second half. If I had to bet this game pre-flop, I would take the 7.5 with Michigan, but I like Georgia to win the game outright. I think Michigan makes the game close. I think Harbaugh and company come out there and play the Bulldogs very close, but I think ultimately Georgia wins the game, but I like Michigan to make it a game.
I lean into that too. Like it.
Well, let me be the voice of contrarian. I'm going to take Georgia to cover and then some. Look, Blake Corum is coming back from an ankle injury. We don't know what that's going to mean in terms of his ability to cut. He's a speed back. He's a tremendous talent. He's probably a first-round pick if he decides to come out or even if he sticks around next year. However, those Georgia linebackers are just too fast, and we've seen Michigan in postseason games lay an egg. I don't see them being that much better than they have been in the past. And again, I'm a Southern football biased apologist. I think too much team speed, and folks fail to realize that mortal teams were held in check during the course of the regular season in the SEC until they got to the championship game and ran into the machine that is Alabama. I like Georgia. Georgia covers big. I see where I can get them at 7.5 early in this week. I'm rolling with that right now, boys and girls. I'm taking Georgia to cover the 7.5 and to beat Michigan. I'm looking for Alabama, Georgia in the national title game.
I think that's going to be the national championship. I think once we saw what Georgia did to Clemson on opening night, I think from that moment, all signs pointed to Georgia and Alabama playing in the SEC championship and then also running it back for the national championship. And I think we'll get that. Here's a little hint that I saw offshore. leading in the lead up to bowl season. And it still sits this way now. Alabama to beat Georgia is plus 195. Georgia to beat Alabama is also plus 195. Being that that's even, I think the Georgia Bulldogs are going to win a national championship this year.
Nice. I'm not ready to go out on the limb that far, man. I just think that Saban has Kirby Smart's number, and it's just one of those things.
I would like to see JT Daniels.
Yeah. You know, and again, Alabama is the Patriots or, you know, the A&T or the Celebration Bowl. We got tired of it. We thought we had gotten rid of them, but they continue to hang around. And let's be real for a second. You can't tell me that there is not a value in having a coach with championship savvy that knows how to build a team, motivate a team, and let his assistants do what they need to do in a big game better than Nick Saban.
Listen, he's tough. He's tough. He's going to have the most prepared team. There is no doubt about that. But let's not write off what Georgia did all season long. I mean, their teams were barely scoring against Georgia. Now, I know it didn't look good in the SEC championship game, but I think the Bulldogs bounced back nicely. I wouldn't throw that whole season out because of one game, Mark.
I'm not throwing the whole season out, but then there's Bama under pressure, and then there's Georgia under pressure. And we've seen Georgia be within a play of winning the national championship and blow it on a bomb. Hey, man, that sets the tone indefinitely for me. Only thing I'm worried about in that contest will be whether or not Bama covers. But then again, that's just me. That's right. The sports book. He is Corey Parson. Don't forget, you can check him out, NBC Sports Edge. You got anything special going on this week as it relates to the college football cheat sheet or anything like that?
We got coming up on Friday over on Twitter Spaces. We have a special Twitter Spaces. Prepare everybody for the college football playoffs and also whatever else games are going down that week. So if you are on Twitter, you want to check that out on Friday, you can follow me at the Fantasy Exec. You'll see that circle light up, and we'll get in there. We'll get you some good information, some good actionable information to help you win. So we got the two playoff games, and we also got I believe Washington State is playing Central Michigan in a redone Arizona Bowl, and I think they shifted it. They moved it from Central Michigan, left the Arizona Bowl to go face Washington State. And then obviously we got the Wake Forest and the Rutgers to start it off at 11 a.m. That is brunch and bowls, but obviously leading up to the national football, the college football playoffs. So we're going to get you ready for that stuff and we'll be good to go.
Hey, Chad, I think we got a new business investment. How about the latest line of national chain sports bars, breakfast and bowls? How about that?
I like it.
I think, hey,
not bad.
Hey, and we can just steal the Waffle House menu.
Got to put wings and nachos on it. Thanks, Corey.
Exactly.
All right, fellas.
Hey, that's our something to the sportsbook. Corey Parson. Check him out. NBCSportsEdge.com. Thanks a lot, Corey. Appreciate you, bro.
Take care, everybody.
Peace.
All right, Corey. Thanks for dropping the knowledge on us like it's hot. Chad, you might as well kick off this week, man, because I got the squid target on my back. And,
I'm ready. Let's start with game one, Tampa Bay, minus 11 at the New York Jets. Well, Tom Terrific was fantastic in his game last week against the Panthers. But you know what? He was upstaged not once, but twice on Sunday by Kansas City's Patrick Mahomes and Dak Prescott in Dallas. Tom don't like that. Both Dallas and KC are making it known they have their eyes on the Super Bowl. But to quote the legend Omar from The Wire, when you come from the king, when you come for the king, you best not miss. Look for Tom Terrific, who has owned the Jets longer than the Johnson family, to reestablish his dominance by crushing the lowly Jets on Sunday. The line opened up at 11. It quickly jumped to 13. Check it before you make your bet. But I'll tell you what, I'd take it all the way up to 14 and still feel good.
All right. Quoting The Wire, it gets no better than that, my friend. Anyway, my first pick is the aforementioned Kansas City taking on the Cincinnati Bengals. That game's in Cincinnati. If it were an Arrowhead, I'd probably go up as high as 7. I was able to get it at -4 with Kansas City a favorite, and I love that. Again, like I said earlier, we just got to get used to it. Mahomes versus Burrow, but I like the emergence of the Chiefs defense, and I like the fact that they have morphed into a disciplined offense. So at -4 on the road, the way that they're playing in the first of a series of epics, I'm going to roll with Kansas City to cover as a road favorite.
You know what? I like that. I like that because Kansas City's been there. They've got the experience. Cincinnati's on their way, but they ain't quite there yet. Game 2 for me, Arizona +2 at Dallas. What does this year's Cardinals team remind me of so much from the Steelers of last year? I can tell you, Steelers started off 11-0 last year before losing 5 of the last 6, including an opening round playoff loss to their hated rivals in Cleveland. Sure, the Steelers were 11-0, but it was a soft 11-0. No one really considered them an elite team in the NFL. Now we have the Arizona Cardinals starting off at 6-0, but having lost 5 of their last 8, traveling to Dallas, where the Cowboys' right arm is still sore from that butt whooping they gave the Washington football team. Bad news for the Cardinals. By the time they reach Dallas, that arm will be feeling back to normal. Look for the Cowboys to roll all over the Cardinals, who are just in a free fall and may have difficulty making the playoffs.
All right, this from my put your big boy pants on. I'm going to take Tennessee at home. I was able to get them at 3.5 as a home favorite over Miami. Again, these two coaches, Vrabel and Brian Flores from the Belichick tree, they know each other. Nothing is going to shock about whatever they do. They're probably using the same lines to motivate each other's team. But at home, as a fave, as a legitimate threat to Kansas City, I like Tennessee to establish themselves. Tennessee in a better place right now to start proving that they are more than just, some fly-by-night team that got to the AFC Championship game last year. Hey, I like Tennessee in this spot. Miami plays hard, but Tennessee covers. They win by a touchdown.
Wow, that's a tough one, man. I'm riding those hot Dolphins, but that's a tough one. I like the way you put it out there. Well, game 3 for me, New England at Jacksonville. New England -15. Okay, Father Bill is mad. Not only has he lost 2 games in a row, but he just lost to the Buffalo Bills at home. In fact, he was so mad they changed his name to Heat Miser. It's a holiday season reference, guys. Check a year without a Santa Claus. Anyway, the Pats travel to Jacksonville, where all they wanted for Christmas was a new coach. They must have been naughty because they didn't get it. Take the Pats to win and cover in Jacksonville. Mark, what's your game 3?
My game 3, I go to Minnesota, where Kirk Cousins never covers. That being said, I like Green Bay at home to cover at -7 over Minnesota. It's just that time of year. Cousins does what he does. This will make another interesting Pat McAfee segment next week, and we will continue to move it along. And oh yeah, by the way, Aaron Rodgers on his Savor the Moment tour, he'll be savoring everything that goes on with Minnesota after he puts a butt whipping on the Vikings this week.
Yep, I'm feeling that one. Totally agree. My sure shot. Here it is, y'all. Cleveland +1 at Pittsburgh. Actually, the line opened up at Cleveland -1, and then it jumped to Cleveland -3. Money is coming in on Pittsburgh. I'm sure that you, like most people, are wondering why. Well, let me explain it to you this way. And what in all probability will be Big Ben's last game ever at Heinz Field Stadium. That place will be rocking. The fans, the coaches, and the players will in no way, no how let Big Ben leave that field losing to the most hated rival of the Pittsburgh Steelers. Do not be surprised if you see a few Steeler legends on the sidelines for this in what will certainly be Ben's last game at home. And who knows, Baker Mayfield still may be in the holiday spirit and feel like giving away some picks. Very generous of him. Take the Steelers, lay the points, And oh yeah, warm up on some old classic Renegade by Styx. You'll be hearing a lot of that in the fourth quarter in that stadium. Mark, who's your sure shot?
Well, I got a sure shot. Joe Green ain't gonna have no sacks, and Donnie Shell ain't gonna have no interceptions in that contest. But I do like the 1 point dog being Pittsburgh to win that game. My sure shot, I'm keeping it at the crib myself. I got Philadelphia 2.5 over Washington. I can see another blowout imminent. The only good thing that happens in Washington this week, I have sources that tell me on January 2nd, they're going to announce a new team name for the franchise. So if that comes to pass, you heard it here first. And from what I hear, it's going to begin with something red. So that's all I know. That's all I've heard. Remains to be seen if we get back in here. That's anything but a sure shot. But look, best quarterback in this game, Jalen Hurts. Still controversy in Washington about what's going on up under center. I think that two proud men, Payne and the other Alabama kid, Jonathan Allen, I think that symbolizes something that's going on beneath the surface. So I just think Philadelphia is in a great spot to cover the 2.5. It's only a field goal game. I'll take Jalen Hurts to lead the last second drive and do just that. That's my sure shot for the week.
Yep, and I don't even think it'll be a last-second drive. I think Philadelphia is going to be controlling that game all the way through. I'd like what you said about something going on underneath. When you've got players mushing each other in the head on the sidelines on live TV, what? That's a fighting act, whether you on TV or not, but especially in front of a national audience. So, thank you very much, everybody, for participating in our COVID show. Trust us, we will be back in the studios next week. And as Mark always tells you, I'll reiterate, these picks are for informational purposes only. Got a problem with gambling? Dial 1-800-GAMBLER. With that, I'm Chad Morton.
I'm Mark Gray. Remember, check us out for all the updates and the latest news and everything that's fit to talk about. But Chad, we'd be remiss, man. Give me a couple seconds on John Madden.
Oh, man. The legend. And, you know, I'm proud to say that I'm old enough to remember him solely as a coach, whereas many of the kids today only know Madden from the game. A lot of them don't even know him as a broadcaster. But the legend, you know, John his legend only grew when he had to retire from coaching because of the heart stress. Because the doctors literally told him, if you keep coaching, you will have a heart attack or a stroke. That's how passionate he was. Then he takes that kind of passion and puts it in the broadcast booth. And by some miracle, Mark, they match him with the perfect partner, the understated, cool as a cucumber, Pat Summerall. I heard one guy describe it as this, and it's not a disrespectful joke. It's just a joke. He said, two guys where one sounded drunk, one sounded sober, and it was the reverse. They were the perfect broadcasting team. It was when you saw them, you knew it was a big football game, man. How about you, man?
He was a regular guy's regular guy. And in this era of talk too much, trying to make a statement long before there was clickbait, Madden was dropping clickbait on you and you didn't even really know what was up. Everything from boom to getting to the running back, to the lineman's hip pocket, you know, the turducken, everything. John Madden made the game fun. And what's messed up about the broadcasters these days is that they so pressed on being hyper analytical and talking down to you and talking at you that John Madden is missed because he was talking with you. We're going to miss Madden. It was great. He innovated the game in so many different ways, from the line on the field denoting the first down to the Madden football game. It was truly a life worth living. I'm glad to remember that I'm a fan of Madden. I'm going to be a fan of Madden until we get to play the game up in the sky, my friend. Hey, Chad, thanks a lot, buddy. Appreciate you as always.
Hey, appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you for hanging out with us. This has been our socially distanced edition of The Sure Shot. Have a happy new year. We're back at you again next week, hopefully without the squid stabbing me in my back.
You got it. See you next week in the studio. Like and subscribe below. See you next week.